Hey y'all, it's Megan. Welcome back to the channel. Glad y'all are here today. Come take a walk with us. We're gonna walk around and just survey some, I don't guess you'd call it damage, but we've had a lot of rain lately. We gotta go check out our road situation, and y'all just come take a walk with us.
We're gonna start out here at the garlic and just kind of give y'all an update on how that's doing, because I know we've done a video on planting this garlic, but I don't think y'all have seen it since then. So it's actually looking pretty good. I think we had a little bit of burn damage from when it got really cold. You can see the tips of those leaves. I think that's what that's from, but I'm not 100% sure. But it's actually grown a lot
In the last few days.
Yeah, it really has. But in the last few days we've been really warm too, and then today I'm pretty sure the temperature has went down today.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Yeah.
'Cause it's gotten colder today. But anyways, I want to show you a little something while we're out here though, talking about we've had a lot of rain over the last, I don't know, probably month or so. So y'all remember we had sweet potatoes here in the summer and fall, and then we got those up, the vines come way out here into the yard. Well, that ended up killing the grass that was in our yard, and we had intentions of throwing some more seed down to fix that problem, but y'all, it turned so dry back in the fall that we just didn't bother with it because we didn't think it would ever come up. But look right here. In the short amount of time this area right here has been buried. Now take, for instance, this is a small spot, but in just the short amount of time that this area has been bare, look at the kind of washouts that have occurred here. I know you probably can't see this good, but the ground's supposed to be here, and then right here I've already got at least a good 2, almost 3-inch drop. So that's how much topsoil has been washed away from this area, and now it's all laying right here against this row bed. But it just goes to show you how important it is, especially during the winter months when we get these kind of showers, because if this had been in the summertime, there would be crabgrass that had come up to hold it together, Bermuda grass had probably spread out through here or something, and that fescue wouldn't be that important. But we really probably should have tried to get some grass established on that, but we will be this spring.
And last night we had another 2 inches of rain, so if you watched our channel for any amount of time, you know that like one day we're saying, oh, please let it rain, and the next time we're saying, oh my gosh, it's too much rain, and it's just the way it is.
It can't be perfect anymore. My daddy talks about all the time how when he was young that he don't ever remember the weather being the way it is now. You know, I know things change through history and everything, you know, weather patterns change and whatnot, but what blows my mind is how our weather, like when we get rain, we get it all at one time. It can't just come a nice little shower anymore. It don't do that anymore. And I mean, I can remember when I was a kid, it come really nice little showers but now when we get rain, we get 2 inches at a time, and it just pours, and it's been that way for almost since 2020. I swear, I think when the world went to the pot, so did the weather. But our cover crop on this garden out here is looking pretty good. We actually turned the cows in on it, on these 3 little steers here. We turned them in on it about a month or so ago and let them graze it. And they eat it down pretty good, but it's actually come out a lot since then.
And this is what we call our big garden here. So this is in the summer, you'll see, and if you're interested to see, you know, how our gardens look in the summer, if you're dreaming of summer days during this winter, I'll be sure to link that video and y'all can check that out.
So we got these 3 steers over here that I probably should have never bought, but we have them now, so we kind of have to look after them. We've had that little Holstein there jump out of the fence twice now.
I'm just going to tell you and put my 2 cents in on that. If he jumps out again, he's gone.
Oh, yeah,
I ain't fooling with it no more. That's just the way, we don't deal with that crap around here. So.
If he jumps out again, we're going to be eating us some veal or something. I don't know, but this is what you would call the most secure fence we have.
It's a goat fence.
Because it was intentionally a goat fence originally. So that's why them 3 calves are staying in here, because I'm a little bit scared to put them over here in just this 2 strands of wire. A calf like that starts jumping, could easily jump right over that or even jump in between the two hot wires.
And see, and there's a pretty busy road, and I'm sure throughout the videos y'all seen cars go through here.
Yeah.
But this is a pretty busy road right here. I mean, for our rural area, it's busy.
Right. Yeah,
And,
sometimes it's like an interstate.
Yeah, so that worries us about that calf getting out. And plus, they ain't tame, y'all. So
No,
like
by no means.
my cows over here, my milk cows and the black cow, like they are babies. They come to a feed bucket, they come to treat. Well, you can ask Andy yesterday. They were like attacking me, wanting some cow treats. But anyways, these three are not like that. And so we try to train them by shaking the bucket before we feed them, because we have had that one get out. And actually last time it got out, I put it up a little easier than we did the first time.
Yeah.
But still, it shouldn't be getting out.
But I think that little goat, that Lovey, has something to do with it too, because y'all, Lovey thinks he's a big bully. And he'll get in there and he'll headbutt them or whatever. And every time I've noticed, every time that Lovey goes and headbutts that Holstein, he goes kind of stupid and jumps around and everything. And I think that's part of the reason why it's got out the times it's got out. Now, the two Jerseys are a lot calmer cows, and they don't seem to...
Well, the Holstein's not wild.
Yeah, and the Holstein's not wild at all, but like it's so tall, all it's got to do is hop, and it can clear a fence. It's a lot taller than the rest, a lot longer legged than these other cows we've had. But that's a whole nother subject for a whole nother day. We could, all I know is they better be some good eating to be worth what we've had to do with them so far, which y'all like I said, y'all hadn't seen a lot of the issues we've had with them. They're just, we're just kind of babysitting them and waiting for them to grow. And even though it's going to be probably another year before they're big enough to eat, you know, I guess time will tell whether we actually hang on to them or not. Because I don't know. We might actually let them go come spring. When the grass starts growing again and, you know, people are looking for cows to put on pasture or whatever, we may let these things go. But right now is not a good time to be getting rid of cows anyways, because everybody and their brother has cows for sale right now, because they're all in the same situation that we are. We had that terrible drought in the fall, so no grass grew. And then now we've got into this here muddy season, so our pastures are not the only one in this area that look bad. Everybody's pastures
Look like this.
look awful, but it's just what's happened, y'all. I mean, it does come from poor management. I'll say that. I'm not going to deny it one bit, but at the same time, you know, when you do things like we do and you work with the small amount of land you have, sometimes you just got to do things in ways that you probably don't want to do them. But anyways, what we really want to talk about here is all this water situation we've got. So, what are you working on over here?
There's a stream of water that goes that way and then comes the trees out. So I'm taking this, go onto the pipe to only wash one tree.
Well, look at you. You're trying to divert the water, ain't you? I was wondering what in the world you was
You've been down here working hard, ain't you? Look at his ditches dug for this stream.
That one goes that tree, then
Right.
that tree.
Right.
But on the pipe that one just goes that tree, and then.
Oh, I see, because you're trying to keep from them trees over there.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, see, it's washing down those trees too, and that's what he's trying to do.
Yeah.
Look at you, Jacob.
And
We
there's another stream that I run into right there, and I try to walk in.
Okay. We got us a future grader on our hands here.
Good job, Jacob.
I dug it all with this hoe.
Being that we don't really supposed to have rainfall like we've had, you know, that's not something that you typically get around here, but for the last 2 years, it seems to have been that way, that all of our rain comes at one time. That has led to problems around here that we used to not have to deal with. I mean, you know, we'd get the occasional thunderstorm that would dump an inch of rain in 30 minutes, and those kind of things you can deal with. But what we've had lately are different. We've had, like, up until probably a couple hours ago, it's been raining today. It rained all evening and all night yesterday, and it rained so hard that you could just hear it beating in the roof when we were laying in there in the bed. And our house is usually to the point where you can't hear rain in our bedroom. It has to be raining hard, and we heard it. And I want to show you right here. this is not a stream that normally flows here, even though it looks like a creek. This is just all water, runoff water and drainage water coming out of the ground up here and running right down through here. And as we continue our walk, you'll see where it goes and how it does. So we've got to come up with some solutions to our problem here. I'm not really so much worried about this water here running across the gravel, even though I do have plans in the future of how to resolve this. But up here at this point, the water doesn't have a lot of speed and momentum yet. But when it gets down here and starts off down the hill, that's where the damage is occurring. And we've really got to do something about it, or else we're not going to have a road left.
These are the apple trees we were pruning, and you can really see the water damage now around those apple trees. I know we mentioned it in the video. Yeah, that's what Jacob's up there trying to fix for us. Because the boy loves apples. He don't want his apple trees killed.
I got one apple off of this year where I was mowing around.
Yeah.
So the water, just to kind of give y'all an idea here, the hillside that's right here that comes off the road, there's a lot of water that comes across the road over to our place. There's nothing we can do about that. Then it drains off of this hill here, and then there's a ditch that runs right across the top of that gravel pad, and it runs it into this culvert that comes out right here. Well,
you put that in, right?
Yeah, when we had to clear it, when we had the grading done, we put that in. But then we also have water running across right there. We have water runs down the road and comes down through here. And so all the water funnels into this spot right here. So you actually have 3 sources of water that come into this one spot. And once we hit this spot here, that's where our trouble really begins. So we've about determined that we're just going to go ahead and take out these 3 apple trees that are in the lower spot right here. But I will tell you, when we planted these trees here, even though we had, you know, all of the water, nothing has changed since we planted these trees. This wasn't that big of a deal when we planted these trees, because like I said, once again, I'm firmly believe that our weather has changed in the last few years. And so what we're going to do is, I think, take these 3 trees out and move them to some higher ground somewhere or another. They're still small enough that I think we can successfully move these. And so that'll open this up to where we don't have to worry about it washing the dirt out from around our tree roots. Now this one, I do have some future plans of how I can redirect this water. But like I said, we don't typically get that washout right there, but we had so much rain from yesterday that that was unusual. So on this side of the hill, get over there and let's show them how this is done.
So I don't know how to show y'all the steepness of all these areas that we're walking, but like this, what we call the hillside garden, it's pretty darn steep. And so this is something we fight with in our location here. Most of this over here that we plant over here now is perennial type crops. And you know, perennial stuff, the roots stay there all the time. So it's not like annuals where you're pulling the roots out of the ground. So we're hoping to eventually have a lot of this stabilized a lot better. But we still got a water situation that we need to deal with. So I guess off the back of the hog lot there, off of the building, the water sits off of that tin, and then of course it comes from up the hill there at the neighbor's place, and it comes from this way, and it all comes together, and it funnels right down through here, and you can see the washouts in the mulch where it's washed. And these washouts are from what, 2 rain events? Yeah. This was not like this just 2 rains ago. Right here is the worst one. And you can see it's washed all this down through here. And I mean, you can see how thick this mulch was. And this mulch has been here 2 or 3 years.
Well, the last layer we put on was last spring.
Yeah.
So, and it's been untouched since then. But the last 2 rain events we've had have done this. And then what's happening from that point is there's supposed to be sort of like a little ditch right here that runs down this side of the road. Well, that has halfway filled in and is actually holding together quite well. But the problem is where it's filled in, now the water, instead of coming out and running down the ditch and beside the road, the water's coming out, running across, running right down the actual road itself. So that's causing us some problems. So what we're going to have to do here is sort of grade this back out to where the water's staying on that side of the road and running back down through here. And that should fix our problem here. This is a little more of a simple problem to fix. Once all three of these places funnel in and come down this side of the road here, we just got us a creek running.
Yeah.
We got us a good little creek. So this don't normally run like this, so that's what I keep saying here. Like this, water don't normally run like this here, even though it looks like this is normally a creek. This ain't normally a creek.
We've had a lot of grading work done over the years since we've been here, trying to save this road. There at one time it got in really bad shape.
Yeah.
To the point you felt like when you come down that hill you was gonna flip on the floor. Remember that?
Yeah. Yeah,
and,
it was like ditches knee deep.
Yeah, and so, but this road was already an established road back when his grandpa lived here, and we just kind of tried to take care of it and help out the situation. But all this used to be woods everywhere that we have pasture now, and that's made a huge difference.
You know, I guess that's sort of the unfortunate thing about taking away woods, or what we call woods, forest, whatever you want to call it. You know, from here to our house was wooded. Every bit of this. Over there on that side, well, okay, on that side of the pasture actually used to be fields, and then they grew up in pine trees, and then we just cleared the pine trees out of the fields. So that right there actually was cleared several years ago, and then it just, nature took its course and it grew up, and we come back in and cleared it back out. But this has always been woods right here, and where it's on a slope like it is, when you take away trees, even though you have grass there, the trees and the leaves and everything else really slow that water down, where the grass, the water just runs off of it. So that's made a lot more faster moving water coming down this road. And now we have another problem right here. So this is the bottom side of the ditch that we were just looking at, that comes off of the bottom side of the hillside garden up there. And it used to just come straight across this road here. I actually had it ditched out to where the ditch crossed the road and would run into this ditch, and they would join together. Well, out of all the heavy rains and everything we had, the berm that used to be built up here, so this would probably be hard to pick up, but I had it so that the ditch run out right there, it would cross the road and run straight over into that ditch. And so the only spot that we ever had water crossing this road was right here, and it would just cross. And my intentions were all the time to put a culvert pipe in here. Well, we hadn't got around to it yet. Well, now it's become evident that we've got to fix this problem. So I am, in the future, hopefully the near future, because it's got to be fixed soon, but hopefully in the near future, if it'll dry out enough, we're going to get the trackhoe in here and dig this out and put us a culvert pipe under this road. Because now what's happened is my little berm that was here blocking the water from going on down the road has broke. And it's opened all this up, and this has washed out terribly. Once we get to this part right here is where I'm really going to have some trouble, because a lot of the soil and rock and everything that was in this road has pretty much washed on down the holler and into the creek. And I don't have much that I can pull back up here and replace all of this. So once we get the culvert pipe put in, I'm probably just going to have to bite the bullet and buy some rock and other stuff to fill in this road. But look right here, we got a Grand Canyon running right down the middle of the road. And this was not like this. Y'all may look at this video and be like, that's been washed out for a long time. It wasn't.
Me and the kids actually walked down here today, probably 4 days ago. We like to take little walks down to the creek or whatever, and there wasn't no ditch, not like this at all.
I will say, there was just a small, probably be like a little groove that was washed into it from previous rainstorms, but it wasn't a ditch. This has happened in the last 2 rains. And see, the thing of it is we could leave it alone and not worry about it, but guess what? If you leave these problems alone, then you're really going to have a Grand Canyon running through the middle of your road. Because once you start with a washout like this, the water is just going to keep on and keep on and keep on coming through here. And you're going to end up with something that's probably waist deep by the time it's all said and done.
We've seen it.
Yeah, we've seen it done. Like, this road used to be that way.
Yeah.
But it's because, I mean, we can't fuss a whole lot because this road is literally in between 2 hillsides. And so every bit of water from everywhere comes here. And here we are trying to keep a road up through it.
That may have been where the road come from originally.
What, just a big ditch?
Yeah.
No, the only reason I ever think about this road being here is because it used to be kind of like an access road to Grandpa to get to his spring house, which is right down here, which now we're on a well. And so I think, I mean, I say it was a road. This was more or less a foiler trail when we first started clearing all this land up here. And then we opened it up into a road. But like I said, so you just imagine what this little patch right here looks like. That's the type of woods that was from here to the house. It was thick, brushy, nasty mess. And the reason the trees were so small on it is because the timber was cut off of it, I don't know, several years before we bought it. And anyway, it was like this right here, plumb to the house. And when you have dense hardwood forests like that, that really slows down water. But when you've got grassland, especially overgrazed grassland, water's just going to run over it like it's running off a tin roof. So this brings us to our next problem. It's right here. Look at that.
I hope your boots are waterproof.
Well, that's a test to see if I see if boots are waterproof or not.
Did it say they were?
I don't know if it did or not. This has fortunately caught a lot of the runoff that we've had off this road. And so hopefully we're going to be able to take a lot of the loose sediment and soil and everything that's washed down out here and be able to drag it back up and put it back into the washouts on this road. But also a lot of it has also went over that hill there and went down and on down towards the creek. The first bit of clearing we done up here, I actually done with my daddy's bulldozer, and I've cleared off most of this land, and then we ended up hiring another guy to come back and do some more clearing for us. But the road ended right here in this open area. This open area right here was actually here before all of this was cleared out, and it was like a turnaround spot to where you could come down here, and if Grandpa ever had to work on his spring, well, it's right down there under that tin. And he would use that to come down here, and he could park up here and walk down there to the spring and clean it out or do whatever he had to do to it. So right here where we're standing, this ditch has always kind of naturally been here. And right here where we were standing was actually head deep. This was a gully that had washed out. And I don't even remember now where I pushed the dirt from. But I had the bulldozer down here and I filled it all in and pushed the dirt in. And I had it to about right there on that tree. Now I know I'm not supposed to push dirt up on the tree, but I did it. And I want you to look at how all this is washed out now, because it is a tremendous amount of water that comes through here. Now take for granted, when I filled this hole in, that's been what, 10 years ago?
At least.
Yeah, at least 10 years ago. So it took a long time to do that, but we're going to have to make a more permanent solution to this. Like, we've got to put in that culvert pipe here so we can keep on with this road right here that goes down to our creek. But the other problem that's come from all of this is where so much water flows through there and we have so much sediment and stuff, down there where Grandpa's old spring is, it's sort of halfway filled in the reservoir box that was down there. So I really want to get in there and clean that out, but I want to get these issues fixed first so that when I clean it out, it don't just end up right back full again. But that's something that I'd like to do one of these days, just to have it sort of like a backup water source if we ever did need it. We got one more problem down here we want to show you on our road, and this one I really don't know how I'm going to fix. because there's nowhere to turn the water off the road. The road sits a lot lower than the banks do, and so water is, there's no way to stop the water from just funneling right down through the road. But this one's washed out a lot too. It just over the last 2 rains, it's really went down a lot. But I think something y'all can think about on this video is, when you live in a mountainous area or anywhere, if it's just not flat, unless it's on flatland, I know they have issues with water too. They have issues with flooding in those areas. But what we have issues with here is erosion, I guess you would say. Because when you're at this point, we have water coming from off of this hill down through here. We've got water coming from down through there. We've got water comes off of another hill over here down through there. And so everywhere you're at, it seems like water just funnels to it, unless you're sitting up high on a hill somewhere. You're at the start of it if you're up on up high.
This one's pretty bad though.
This one is. This one's bad. And I'm not 100% sure what I can do about it. And I've come up with ideas. So just so for reference for where we are, when you turn this curve right here, you go down the hill to our creek, and then directly across the creek is the big garden down there. But there ain't much you can do to stop the water, because once it starts on our place, it runs with such force, you can't put something up to block the water, because it's just going to push it over. If you put up some type of, matter of fact, after walking back up the hill, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Because I did try to dig like a little catchment pond, and it actually works pretty good. But
it can only hold so much
only hold so much water, and once it starts to run over, it's going to take out whatever's in its path. So if anybody has any suggestions in the comments, feel free to leave them. But in all honesty, the best thing I can think of right now is just keep diverting water from one way to the other till it's gone. It'd be nice if you had a way to catch all this water, but at the same time, where it's all runoff water like it is, it's got a lot of sediment and stuff in it, and I really just don't know what we could do.
Ain't that water cold?
A little bit.
So this is the little catchment pond right up here. And actually, the cows and the horses really love it, because they like to come here and get water. They like to come here and get their water. We keep them clean water up there at the barn, but for whatever reason, it's just like a darn dog. You keep them clean water and they want to drink the muddy water, whatever.
Kind of what they do.
Yeah. But
There's a little waterfall.
it works really good, but all this rain right here, you can see, this was not like this right there.
Now that other part right there, it had busted through that a while back.
I know that wasn't like that
but
when
it hadn't
first.
washed out. It hadn't washed out near as bad. So if you can see how tall that pile of dirt is Jacob just jumped on, it was that tall all the way around the bottom side. And I know it's obvious that water just comes down with all that force. It's not going to hold there. But it actually held up really well throughout the last summer and this summer, with the thunderstorms and stuff we'd had, where you get those like I said, an inch of rain in 30 minutes or something like that. It would hold up really well, because it would catch all that water, and then it would just start seeping through instead of running over. But since we've had so much water this winter, and the ground is already so saturated that this pond stays full all the time, which it holds water just about all year anyways.
Even when we was in that drought, it never did dry up.
Yeah, it never completely dried up. But so the thing I'm thinking now is I just need to dig it bigger and deeper. And I do have to maintain it all the time. Like, I do have to come down here and constantly clean it out, because all that silt runs down, and you have to keep that silt out of it. But I will tell you, that silt is some fertile stuff, and that makes some good stuff to mix in with your raised beds and everything too. So I do put it to use. Matter of fact, in our raised beds up the hill here, before we put the compost over the very top, what's underneath is the silt that come out of this pond right here. But what I'm thinking is I'm just going to have to dig this deeper and bigger, and build a better, I guess you'd say, a dam across the bottom side of it, but then have an actual place to where it can run over. Instead of actually running over the dirt, I don't know if I can use some type of pipe or something, but fix me a spot that it can actually run over without washing the dam away. And so that just, basically my whole purpose with this was to catch the sediment as it comes down the hill, and then the water flow out of it before it went down in there to the creek, instead of having all that dirt just wash out into the creek. And it's worked good until this point, and now it's, well, you can see it's busted.
Well, I fixed this bus.
Yeah, boy. Jacob, you were covered.
But anyways, guys, I hope y'all enjoyed this little walk around with us. We were just being sad about our road and figuring out what we need to do. So anyways, I hope it was a help to you though, and till we see you on the next one. Y'all have a good one.
Have a good one, y'all. We'll talk to you later.